Okay, so we need to talk about what might be the biggest behind-the-scenes disaster in Stranger Things history. Millie Bobby Brown, 11, the face of the entire franchise, has reportedly filed pages and pages of harassment and bullying complaints against David Harbour. Yes, Hopper, her on-screen father figure, the guy who's been publicly talking about protecting her since she was 12 years old. This story broke just a few days ago, and it has absolutely exploded across the internet. So here's what we know. According to a report that first broke in the Daily Mail, and yes, I know, Daily Mail isn't always the most reliable source, but this has since been picked up by basically every major outlet, including People, the New York Post, The Tab, all of them. Millie Bobby Brown filed a formal complaint with Netflix before they started filming season 5. And we're not talking about a simple complaint here. Sources are saying there were pages and pages of accusations. This was allegedly a documented pattern of behavior that Millie felt was serious enough to formally report to the production company and Netflix. So Millie files this complaint reportedly in early 2024, right before they're about to start production on season 5. And according to the Daily Mail's sources, this triggered a massive internal investigation at Netflix that lasted for months. Months, you guys. Think about the logistics of that for a second. They've got the final season of one of their biggest shows ever about to start filming. They've already announced release dates, they've got this whole marketing campaign planned, they've reportedly spent over $400 million on this season alone, which is an absolutely insane number, by the way. That's like feature film money. And now they've got to pause or work around this investigation into one of their lead actors. An insider told the Daily Mail, Millie Bobby Brown filed a harassment and bullying claim before they started shooting the last season. The investigation went on for months. Now, we don't know the details of what that investigation entailed. We don't know who was interviewed, what evidence was gathered. Netflix has been completely silent on this, which honestly is probably the legally smart thing to do. But multiple sources have confirmed that yes, there was an investigation, yes, it was lengthy, and yes, it was serious enough that they couldn't just brush it under the rug. So here's where we get into speculation territory, because Netflix isn't talking, and neither Millie nor David have made any public statements. But we can piece together some things from various reports and from people looking back at interviews and social media. According to The Tab, which did a whole timeline breakdown, Millie and David's relationship apparently went from inseparable to completely distant. They pointed out that in the early seasons, these two were constantly doing joint interviews. They'd post about each other on social media. They had this whole dynamic where they'd joke around and be playful. David would talk about being protective of her. Millie would talk about looking up to him. It was all very wholesome. But then, somewhere around season 4 and going into season 5, that changed. People noticed that Millie seemed less enthusiastic in interviews when David was mentioned. She stopped posting about him. They stopped doing as many joint press appearances. At the time, people just figured maybe they'd grown apart naturally. She's an adult now, she's married, she's got her own life and career separate from Stranger Things. It didn't seem that weird. But now, knowing what we know, people are going back and re-examining everything. And the New York Post actually found some resurfaced interview clips where, in hindsight, Millie might have been hinting at problems. There's this one interview where she's asked about her relationships with the cast, and she specifically talks about the younger cast members, but kind of glosses over talking about the adults. At the time, it seemed like nothing, but now, people are reading into it. The Daily Mail's sources claim that the bullying and harassment happened during filming of previous seasons, potentially going back years. One source said, quote, "This internal report was filed ahead of filming the final season of Stranger Things when Millie Bobby Brown was about 19 or 20 years old, which means that a lot of the harassing and bullying had to happen in previous seasons before that, when Millie Bobby Brown was likely a minor, or at best a very young girl. So, what happened with the investigation? Well, here's what we know and what we don't know. What we know, David Harbour was not fired. He's still in season 5, which is completely filmed at this point. Both he and Millie fulfilled their contractual obligations and completed filming. Now here's what we don't know: the actual outcome of the investigation. Was he found to have done what she accused him of? Was it inconclusive, or did they reach some kind of settlement or agreement? We have no idea. And Netflix isn't saying. But here's what's interesting. Multiple sources have reported that accommodations were made on set during filming of season 5. Specifically, it's been reported that Millie had a personal representative with her during filming, like a professional buffer person whose job was basically to be there as a witness and protection. Think about how awkward that must have been. You're trying to film emotional father-daughter scenes for the finale of this massive show, and one actor has literally brought a professional monitor to make sure the other actor doesn't cross any lines. The tension on that set must have been absolutely insane. One source told the Daily Mail, "It must have been so awkward between Millie and David while they're acting in these scenes because clearly they don't like each other." I mean, yeah, no kidding. So David Harbour hasn't directly addressed these allegations publicly. Like, at all. No statement, no denial, nothing. Which is probably what his lawyers told him to do, but it's notable. What he has done is given a few interviews recently that, in hindsight, seem potentially related. NME reported on an interview he did with Esquire where he talked about his life and specifically said, and this is a quote, "You either accept your path completely, realize even the pain, the slip-ups, and mistakes are all part of the journey, that there's growth and truth, wisdom, and deeper empathy and connection at all. It's about incorporating your life into something you can give to other people so they can have a cathartic response to their lives." Now, on its own, that could be about anything. But the timing is pretty interesting, right? He's talking about slip-ups and mistakes and growth right as these allegations are surfacing. In another interview, he said he'd want to change either everything or nothing about his life. Again, could mean anything. Could mean something specific. We don't know. Okay, so this is where the story gets even weirder. According to the Mercury News and a few other outlets, Lily Allen, who, again, is currently divorcing David and has released music explicitly about him being unfaithful, apparently supported him during the Netflix investigation into Millie's complaints. Let me repeat that because it's so strange. His soon-to-be ex-wife, who is actively dragging him in the press for being a bad partner, backed him on this specific issue. Sources claim she was unwavering in her support of him regarding the allegations from Millie. The internet has been absolutely chaotic since this story broke. Like, genuinely all over the place. On one side, you've got people who immediately believe Millie and are saying they've always thought David seemed creepy or that the age gap in their friendship was weird. There's a lot of "I knew something was off" energy. On the other side, you've got people who are skeptical, pointing out that we don't know the details of the allegations, that an investigation happened and David wasn't fired, so maybe there wasn't enough evidence, that we should wait for more information before condemning him. And then you've got people who are just sad because this completely changes their relationship to the show. Like, how do you watch those Hopper and 11 scenes now, knowing that behind the scenes, the actors allegedly couldn't stand each other? So where do things go from here? Season 5 is gonna come out, people are going to watch it, and Netflix is going to hope this controversy fades into the background. Both Millie and David have completed their contractual obligations. The show is filmed, it's in post-production, it's being released in a few weeks. There's no going back and reshooting anything or editing David out of the show. We're getting the season they made, for better or worse. What do you guys think about all this? Are you still going to watch season 5? Do you think the allegations are credible based on what we know? How do you think this changes the legacy of the show? Let me know in the comments.